Three, two, one. All right. Okay, friends. So I'm not going to do any crazy introduction or anything like that. But tonight, we are going to discuss recruiting. So I remember 8 years ago when I started Sensi, the main focus that I had in the beginning wasn't necessarily recruiting. It was telling every single person how excited I was about Sensi. So, like, from the beginning, I didn't have the mindset of like, oh, I have to recruit, I have to recruit, I have to recruit. Because when you think of it that way, in my personal opinion, it becomes stressful and it becomes more of a task than to just naturally, organically do something that you love that you want to share with others. So, I didn't really realize in the beginning how important recruiting was as far as the longevity of your business and the high paychecks. I genuinely was just like, holy crap, this is so fun. I love this. I cannot believe this is real life and I actually make money from it. That I literally want to tell everybody about it. Because from the very beginning, my first paycheck, which was a few $100s, that was life changing to me because I needed the supplemental income at the time. Um, so when I saw that it was like real, because people debunk, MLMs all the time, and they're like, "Oh, you can't make money, you can't make money." I was like, "Holy crap, I made money. This is so fun. I want to tell everybody about it." Um, and I quickly realized that the big paychecks and the people that were making it a career, their focus was team building. So my mindset was still the same, but it shifted into, okay, I love doing this, but also if I want big paychecks, I have to do this, but I'm going to do it in a natural and organic way. Um, I was very strategic and very intentional with how I was sharing Sensi on my platforms. I will say that 98% of my recruiting has come from social media. Literally, there's probably a solid 2% that it's been from like an event or a party or meeting somebody in person. But the majority of my team building has always come from sharing what I do consistently daily on a social media platform. Whichever one that is for you guys is perfectly fine. I highly suggest focusing on one to two instead of trying to spread yourself thin and try every single one of them, because it just gets confusing. You get caught up. You're trying to be too intentional on too many different apps, and it becomes harder to really focus and spend your time somewhere. Um, I know that Chloe and Stacy are doing that social media group, so that's going to be definitely something that we want to tune into because it's gonna coexist with what I'm about to talk about. So the reason why recruiting is so important in a business like this is because we get bonuses from our team. Those big, large paychecks, eventually, yes, your sales will make you money in the beginning, but when it flips, when it becomes the mass of your paycheck comes from your team, you understand that it's easy, not easier, but it's more realistic to make more money with recruiting than it is to keep trying to sell and keep trying to sell and keep trying to sell, because the higher you go on the compensation plan, the more bonuses you get from that title. So my thing became, how can I mass recruit? And again, I was told from the beginning that 10% of the people that even join Sensi are going to stay, are going to do the work, or really want to make something out of this. A lot of the people that we come across, they're going to be hobbyists. They're going to be, okay with being certified, and that is perfectly fine. And when you know that and you accept that, it becomes easier also to know who to work with, know how to mass recruit. So I always did mass recruiting. It was never just like one to two people here and there. It was always like, I don't I didn't necessarily care who it was or why they were joining, if that makes sense. Because eventually you're going to find your person. Your one, because they always say it's the power of one that is going to turn your organization into a bigger organization, always. Um so you never know who you're going to find, or who maybe thinks that maybe they don't have it or have what it takes, and the second they step into it, they're like, okay, I can do this. And I will say that I've heard stories of superstar directors that were just chilling at certified for 6 7 years, that were just here like, okay, you know what, this is cool. And then something shifted and they were like, wow, I can actually make something of this. And at any single point in time, I want you to understand that you can change the trajectory of how your business is going. You don't have to stay where you are forever. And that moment that you make that decision to say yes is the moment that things can change for you as long as you're consistent. So the things that I said are super important to me are mass recruiting, because people are going to fall off. Not everybody's going to want to do the work. You're going to find your diamond in the rough. Um, and the consistency in sharing Scentsy, why you're a consultant. So yes, we share our products to our customers, right? Of course, we're highlighting warmers, fragrances, etc. However, I always shared the benefits of having Scentsy in my life, whether it was financially, friendship wise, community, growth in myself, self growth. I was like, man, I'm doing things that I never would have imagined that I would have ever done in this lifetime. Speaking on stage, presenting at world tours, training on topics, leading women to a higher calling of themselves, to more, because it's so easy to get lost in parenting and motherhood and whatever else your title and your role is, that I was like, wow, I can actually uplift and inspire people. I never in a million years thought that I would do that. So I would share throughout my journey consistently, literally every single day, like what Scentsy does for me, or why I loved it so much, or what it was providing for me from the very beginning until it turned into my full-time job at one point. Um, because even before it was my full-time job, it was supplementing my income at my waitressing job that I had to leave because I was pregnant. So my number one tip is to consistently share what Scentsy is doing in your life. This could be literally whatever it is for you, because for everybody it's different. It could be the community, it could be the friends you're making, it could be the financial aspect of it. But some of the things that I loved to do was on payday, I would always share a screenshot of my email or my paycheck. And when I became, I guess, the word could be like ballsy enough to share what I was making, there was points where I didn't even cross off the dollar amount, because I was like, you know what? This is life-changing money, and it can literally help somebody change their circumstances. So I'm just going to share what I make. And I know that people could be like, "Oh, that's weird. Why would you share your income with people?" Because when you think about it, having a job that you go to, we don't post our paychecks online. However, the business that we're in, the social aspect of it and the sharing of it, you don't really reach people unless you show them what's happening, unless you show them what you're doing. So payday was like my one of my biggest things. Love to share about it. Or if I didn't share the dollar amount, I'd be like, Scentsy, thank you so much because I don't have to worry about my rent this month. Or Scentsy, thank you so much. You just paid my car payment. And I would do specific things like that so that people who are watching can relate to that. Oh, I have a car payment I need to pay. Or dang, she's really making money. I have to save for a wedding. Um, so I was very active in sharing what it was doing for me. Um, so if you are not on social media consistently, if you're not um, using it to your advantage, you're going to want to learn how to, because it is a very powerful tool and a platform. Because yes, we can go do events, we could do parties, we can meet people in person, but the amount of people that you can reach from one Facebook post or one Facebook reel or one TikTok versus just going out on a daily basis and maybe coming across a handful of people, it's a huge significant difference. Now, one of my biggest tips for what I do and how I gain an audience on social media is Facebook has always been like my major platform, like my main, where I've always been, and it's Facebook groups. I can't even tell you how many different kinds of groups I'm in on Facebook, but I'm in a trillion. And I'm not just Scentsy groups. I'm talking coloring groups. I love to color. Puzzle groups. I love puzzles. I'm in cat groups. I'm in dog groups. I'm in groups where I can relate to people about things that we both enjoy. And in being in those groups, I'm strategic with building relationships, networking with people, making sure that I'm commenting and I'm talking and I'm engaging and I'm interacting. And then eventually, the more that I do that, I shift them from a group to my actual Facebook page. We become friends across the line. I don't ever mention Scentsy. I don't bring up Scentsy. I don't ever shove Scentsy in anybody's face. Um, I build a relationship and a connection first. And when they switch over to my platform and they're on my social media, naturally, because I'm consistent in what I'm posting, and this is when I was consistent, and I'm going to talk about that too. The difference that I see from when I was versus when I'm not. I preached for years and years and years consistency, show up every single day, whether you want to or you don't want to, because the people that you're connecting with and you're building with, they're not going to, it's not going to click the way it would if they're seeing it over and over and over and over again. Now, I'm not saying shove your Facebook full of all Scentsy. There's that 80-20 rule. So you want to make it engaging. You want to make sure that you are posting questions and getting people to interact with your Facebook in general. Even sometimes posting controversial topics to get people talking back and forth in your comments, because the more Facebook sees you as relevant, they're gonna push you into other people's feeds. They're gonna be like, oh, this is a trending topic, or this is a great status and it's doing well and it's taking off, so they push it for more people. And then when that happens, the algorithm notices, okay, Kathy and Kelly are in connection with each other because she commented on that post, and then I'll see your next Scentsy post. But if you're not doing that, if you're not being intentional, if you're not making your page something to engage with, it's harder for people to see you in their algorithms. So you may be posting every single day, every single day, every single day, but you're not seeing any results because you're not popping up in anybody's newsfeed or timeline. So another thing that I would do as far as being intentional is I have the widget on my phone for like Facebook birthdays, and I click on it every day, and I make sure that I send a message, like a Facebook message, instead of just a comment, because then you stand out, you're different, you pop up in their inbox instead of on their timeline washed out with the other 150 people that wish them a happy birthday. Um, so literally being social on social media has really benefited my recruiting skills, if you will, because when people have the insight into my life, they want to know. They're curious. Naturally, we're all curious as human beings. And if you glorify Scentsy and what it's doing for you, naturally people are going to be intrigued and they're going to be like, wait a second, what is this? And another reason why you want to be consistent is you never know at what point or when somebody's ready to finally say yes. Because I've had people watching me for 8 years now on the same platform talk about the same thing, but their season in life may have been different than the season that they're in now. And randomly, I'll get a message like, hey, I think I really want to try this Scentsy thing that you've been doing. And here we are 8 years later, and I'm like, dang, this person has been on my Facebook for 8 years and they're finally saying something. Um, so definitely your the platform that you want people to engage with the most, make sure that that's public. That's like the number one thing for me. Make sure it's public. Um, because if you're not public, you're only reaching the people on your friends list, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Nobody else can see it. The hashtags won't matter. It has to be public for people to be able to locate and find you. Talk about your payday, talk about the perks, do live unboxings. I will say that I remember I used to tell Kelly this all the time: show your face, go live, talk about Scentsy, post on your stories every single day, because I promise you, people are going to eventually watch. And there was, a few times I had to say it and a few times I had to say it. And I watched the shift in her business when she did start posting more and she did start showing her face and did start going live and talking. And it could be nerve wracking at first, especially if you're not used to being in front of a camera, or if it's not something that you're used to doing on a day-to-day basis, but it's worth it. And it really does make a difference, because when people are just scrolling, they're more likely to stop on a video or a live video or a reel than they are to stop on just a random flyer on a post. Okay, so I like to stay away from the flyers. I like to stay away from that kind of stuff. And I like to do real life videos, stories. And it's crazy because there's people on my Facebook that I have never met a day in my life in real life. But we feel like we know each other because of the relationship on social media. They follow my day to day. They watch my stories. When I went to the dentist the other day, I had a plethora of responses of people who also can't stand the shots in your mouth, because apparently what I learned through people telling me is there's epinephrine in it. I had no idea, and that's why my heart races, and that's why I freak out at the dentist, because It's in there. I didn't know that. And I know that now because of people that I've never met that are just responding to my stories. So make sure that it's a balance, 80% your real life, 20% Scentsy, but let people in on your life, let them in on what you're doing, glorify and glamour your day-to-day pictures of your kids, your animals, your spouse. Because I promise you they're watching. And the more consistent you are and the more you show up in your business and the more they see you doing something that brings you joy, that makes you happy, that's helping you financially, they're eventually going to ask questions. And that's how it's always worked for me. I like to say that it's called like social sharing instead of social selling. Um, because whether it could even be a warmer and somebody likes it and they try it and then they turn into a team member instead of a customer. So just really focusing on those things. I will say things I like to post are like a day in the life. I used to do videos of me doing like Instacart shopping. It brought people in, it tuned them in. They were excited to watch them. That was on TikTok. Behind the scenes, if you're on your stories, I will say for sure, 100%. If you don't follow Chloe Cox on Instagram, you need to. She's really great at showing behind the scenes. She's sharing the happy meal that she's doing. She shares the new products coming out, the new fragrances, and she lets people in on both sides, her real life, her Scentsy life, her customer side. The other day she shared something for consultants on her story, the new spring and summer scents that we could use. Um,
Nicole, I'll send you her Instagram if you don't already have it.
it's so good. She's so great at being consistent and making sure that she is sharing how Scentsy has literally changed her life. Um, and if you're not in that season right now where like Scentsy has drastically or radically changed your life, where you put your career to the side, there's still something out there that you have that somebody's looking for, that you can share, that you can be like, hey, this is what it's done for me so far, or hey, this is how it's helped me, or hey, these are the friends I met because of it. um, I will say that we're all registered for this event coming up for World Tour, which is super great because when you're meeting for whether it be a monthly potluck with your team or it's a get together with your Scentsy friends or it's an event, you want to be documenting these things because that's another avenue of where people look for something. It's connection, it's friendship, it's dang, I wish I had that community, or I wish I had these friendships that these girls have. I met Katrina because of a Facebook group and a training. It's literally just like that. So these people that you're adding to your Facebook or you're meeting through Facebook groups or you're connecting with via the internet, they can become friends also. And you can eventually show them Scentsy or how Scentsy has changed, something in your life. For example, the other day, I'm a part of a Bible study on Monday nights, and one of the girls is a single mom, just like myself. She works two jobs, and the one is overnight, and she's exhausted, but she's now on my Facebook because we connected through Bible study. So she's seeing my Scentsy stuff naturally as a single exhausted mom who just wants an outlet or something else to be able to provide for her family. It's going to be something that she sees. Did I bring it up yesterday? I sure did, because you could just see the exhaustion in her face. It was 10 p.m. and she had to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning to go deliver newspapers. And the reason why I got so passionate about recruiting and about sharing is because of the financial gain that it really did help and change my circumstances. I definitely am not where I once was as far as my income and being consistent and recruiting like crazy. I'll never forget there was one month I recruited 20 people. It was May of 2019. I'll never forget it because it was like literally, first of all, it was chaotic. I was like, holy crap, what do I do now with all these people? I don't even know what to do with them. Training them all at once. But it was a deep passion that I had inside of myself that I wanted to help other people change something, whatever it was. You want a little bit more sleep? Here, I'll help you supplement your second job income. Um, you wanted to change your life and you want to be more present with your kids and you don't want to go to work. Here, let me try to help you do that. Um, and the life changing money comes with recruiting. It just does. Um, but my biggest tips, the biggest ones are post on payday, explain what Scentsy is doing for you. Make sure every time you're with your Scentsy friends or whatever it is, an event, a potluck, a get together, a coffee, a meetup, talk about it, post about it, even if it's a conversation that you screenshot and you put it on your story. Man, I just love the friends that I've met through Scentsy. You're sharing what you guys are talking about. When we're on these trainings, I used to always, we had them weekly at one point, and I would always screenshot and I would share it on my story. And I'd be like, I love my Friday nights with my Scentsy fam. And people are, I promise you, are also looking for connection. It's not just always financial. They're looking for friendship. They're looking for just more than what they have, more than just maybe being a wife and a mom. Maybe more than just being a mom, or they want some kind of connection, some kind of, fellowship. Um, whenever you're doing something for Scentsy, and it may not be first nature for all. Whenever you're doing anything, whether it be sample making, writing out happy mail, organizing your office like you did the other day, Nicole, document it and post it on your social media, because naturally people are just nosy. That's what it is. They're just nosy. They're curious. They want to know what the hell's going on in your life, what you're doing, why you're doing it. Everyone loves to give an opinion. That is, like, I've noticed that people love to share their opinion. It's happening right now with the freaking halftime show. Half of my Facebook is like, ew. Half my Facebook is like, hell yeah. And I'm like, hell yeah. But they love to share their opinion. So if you post things, even questions, even if I used to do this knowing the answer. Okay, I'd be like, well, I don't even know. Are you supposed to put butter in your pancake mix? I would know the answer, but it provokes responses because people are naturally, they just want to share. They want to give their opinion. They want to say what's on their chest. So naturally, I would post statuses like, I don't know, Starbucks or Dunkin'. I played that one out. I did that multiple times at one point. But do you put butter on your pancakes? Or if you want to really get into it, politics, which you should never, in my personal opinion, don't share your opinion on politics if you don't want rage.
Not right now, anyway.
Right, not right now, but, like, even, like, vaccines, like, just controversial topics where people want to meddle in. They wanna give their opinion. Don't necessarily give yours. "Hey, I'm looking for input. What do you guys think?" Or, "Hey, I'm cooking dinner tonight. What's on your menu?" Um, and doing that specific thing helps engagement. It helps networking. It helps you, maybe somebody random that you forgot you were even friends with on Facebook comments, and you're just like, oh God, I forgot about that person. And then you could be intentional with them. Another thing that I like to do was, weekly, I would go through my friends list and I would pick 10 different people that I haven't seen from. They're not in my timeline. We haven't talked. And I would be intentional and I would interact with their stuff. Not just like it, but I would comment. So that way, or somebody that you think maybe would be great at Scentsy, but you don't want to just shove yourself in their inbox and be like, hey, I think you'd be great at Scentsy. But strategically go to their page, start commenting, start liking, start being relevant on their page in their lives, so you pop up, so they think of you, even if it's to be a customer first, even it's to be like, oh, I do, you know what, I do like candles. What is this Scentsy stuff? That's what happened to me. My sponsor was doing lives, and I needed income, but I also love candles. So when I was watching her, I'm like, this is interesting. What is this? But if I promise you, if that girl would never had went live with her stuff, like genuinely showing it and unboxing it and where I could see it, I would have never considered joining or buying because I wouldn't have understood what it was. But when she started doing the live videos, I was like, oh shoot. I'm like, dang, that diffuser is nice. And I watched her for probably about 2 or 3 months before I was like, I want to try this. Whatever this is, I want to try it. And that's how I know that people are naturally like, what is that? So, yes, post. Yes, do your challenges. Yes, post new product. But more you, more your face, more talking on your stories, more controversial topics, more networking, more um, becoming relevant in people's day to day. And I will say right now, a lot of people are on social media because it's so controversial right now. Because again, I don't know, people just love it. I don't. Sometimes I stay away because I'm like, I can't anymore. But people like it, and they want to read it, and they want to give their input, and they want to talk about it. So right now is a great time also to start inserting yourself on people's pages, and you know maybe giving your opinion. I don't know, whatever it is, however you can put yourself in there is how it works. But I will say, yes, naturally nosy, 100%. I'm one of them. I'm always nosy for real. Like that's why that's another reason why I'm like, I know. Um, but I will say, like for sure, talking on your stories, a lot of people don't necessarily scroll their timeline. They do, but a lot of people, and I've done surveys on it, spend more time in their stories than they do scrolling their feed. So if you do a live video, it'll go automatically to your story, so they'll be able to see it there. Um, but just talking, like today, I hopped on for a second and I was like, y'all, I had a day. I'm tired. I'm taking a nap. See you at 8:30. Um, but and even when I don't, and this is how I know that I've made an impact over the past 8 years, is because when I am quiet and when I'm not posting on my stories and I am going through something, people notice. They really notice and they're like, girl, where you at? Are you good? Are you okay? And it's because of how consistent I once was on social media, on posting on my stories. And I promise I see a significant difference in my recruiting and in my income from not being as consistent on social media as I once was, with not posting, with not going live, with not doing stories every single day, not posting controversial topics every day. And I know because Facebook tells me, they'll be like, Brent, you're down 44%. And I'm like, oh, great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Love that for me. Um, so the more you're consistent, the more you're posting, the more you're on your stories, the more you're relevant in other people's lives and they're used to watching you daily. Like Chloe, for instance, I watch her every single day. If that girl doesn't post a story, I notice. If she posts more stories in one day, I notice because I'm watching them. If she's going through something, I can tell. Maybe not everything. Like obviously, there's everybody keeps a part of their life private. But right now, she's sharing her weight loss journey, her health journey. I am tuned all the way in because I'm like, dang, what did she do? So whatever it is that you love, whatever your hobby is, I used to post pictures of myself coloring all the time. After I would be done with a picture in my book, I'd be like, here I am. So people know me as the Scentsy girl, the girl who loves to color. Um, just being known for something as well. So that way when people think of you, they're like, oh, she loves Starbucks. It is known on my Facebook that Cassie's obsessed with Starbucks. So put yourself out
How
there.
many free coffees did you get yesterday?
3. I used both my accounts and Joshua's account because I was like, can you order me? Are you going to use yours? He's like, no. I'm like, thank you. So, yeah, today I have water, but yes, everybody knows I love Starbucks. Um, because I share that. I used to take a picture of it every day. I would go on and I would tell you what I ordered at Starbucks. Like, hey, this is my drink. You should try it.
Brown
Um,
sugar.
yeah, brown sugar shake and almond milk espresso. Literally exactly that. So just share your life. Share Scentsy, share what it's doing for you, and do it consistently. Now, off of social media, um, the one thing that I was implementing was those mints. Remember the TikToks with the you are meant to be here with the QR code? So you can share those things in person in real life if you're having a conversation with somebody. If you're ever doing a party for somebody, you always want to offer the joint opportunity to the party host and to any of her guests. Like, hey, what I would say normally is like, did you guys enjoy this? Did you think it was fun? It was lighthearted. We're always looking to expand our organization because I don't really like to say grow my team anymore because people look at that as like, oh, grow your team. There's a lot of people out there who just don't like MLM. So the verbiage is important, I feel like. So when I say partner with Scentsy now, instead of like, oh, join Scentsy, I'm like, hey, you should partner with Scentsy, or we're always looking to expand our organization, or it's never really like join my team, or stuff like that. Or like join Scentsy, it's always like partner and those kind of things. Affiliate marketing and links are so big right now that I want people to understand that it's literally the same thing. It's not as crazy as people may think. Um, it's no different. You get a commission off of what you're promoting through your own website. So I like to make it simple so people that understand that, like, you don't necessarily have to do all these things. The more simple you keep it, the easier it is for people to be like, okay, I think I can do that. So you could do that at parties, events, even collecting people's information when you're at events is super huge, because at the bottom there's like an option on like the, if you get them from the consultant store, it'll say like interested in joining, interested in hosting a party, interested in getting free Scentsy. So they'll check off those boxes so you'll know who to call if God forbid they are interested in joining. But my main focus was always social media because of the mass amounts of people that I could reach at one time. And I will say that whenever we had to join special, I was sharing it every single day. Um, Anytime I had a free kit, that's another huge one, a huge one. Whenever you have rewards for a party, always offer a no out of pocket kit, because a lot of times people who want to join Scentsy, they don't necessarily have the money or means to do so because they have a financial need. So I always love to offer those when I do have them. Um, and my biggest tip is to mass recruit, focus on the 10%, and not to get discouraged when the people around you aren't necessarily producing what maybe you thought they were, that you thought that they would, or that maybe you see in them that they don't see in themselves yet. Be encouraging, know where to spend your time. um I don't think that Scentsy is a bad idea for anyone. And I said that in my world tour presentation last year, is like, I think anybody can do Scentsy. Genuinely. A lot of people think that you can't, and I think that anybody can. Uh you might have a difference in like performance, if you will, that will vary between person to person. But I think anybody could get something from it, whether it's you sell a 6 pack of wax once a year, or obviously you have to sell more than that to remain a consultant, but or you decide you want to be a superstar director. You're going to find your people. They're going to come. You're going to be able to weed them out, navigate, know who wants what, how to work with certain people. But mass recruiting is definitely the goal. So that way you can find your 10%. And again, it's all about how consistent you are and how badly you want to help those around you. That's all I got for you. I mumbled for a while. Anybody else? Katrina, you got any points? Kel, questions? Nicole, anything? No?
I mean, I don't have anything to add to that. I took all the notes. Like, this was like our working hour, and it turned into a whole dang training. I literally have front and back notes from you.
Love you.
So,
I felt earlier reading Kelly's notes. I'm like, yeah, taking notes for all of us. I love you.
I'm just back here like, teach me your ways, because I mean, you've always been, I think, an inspiration with sponsoring, and that's one thing that I have always been very transparent with my people about, that that's where I am constantly looking to learn more about, because it's not, I haven't had that like
Yeah.
yes moment, like the click moment thing happen for me. I mean, I know like the potential of it and everything, that it's there, but like nothing has like actually like been like where it comes second nature to me to just share all the things and do all the things. And part of that, I feel like I blame on my age, and like where I'm like, I'm too old for this stuff. Like, y'all, like I will scroll TikTok, but I'm not making a TikTok, you know? And so I feel like sometimes the stories, to me, I'm like, but my 19-year-old daughter, she came to me one time and she was like, Mom, there is stuff on your grid that should be a story. And I want to say Chloe said it one time in a training recently, where she was like, your grid is sacred. Your grid is sacred. You have to be very choosy about what goes on your grid. And we're talking about Instagram specifically, but if you have your Instagram and your Facebook connected, you know, anything you post on Facebook is going to go to your grid, and you don't want that. Like, the only time that you want them to be connected like that is for story purposes, because the stories will post in both places. So, but you know, my daughter was like, Mom, this should have been a story. Like, you know, the whole like should have had a V8 with her. She's like, what are you doing? She's like, should have been a story. Should have been a story, Mom. Like, what is this? Absolutely not. She's like, it's a sale. It should have been a story.
The benefit of that girl. You got it right there in
So
your pocket.
I know. So that's
Love
what
that.
I'm learning. Like, it's almost like this
Mhm.
right here proves what I have preached to my team for the last several years
Mm.
of someone can tell, two people can give you the same training
Mhm.
because you did not share anything new. Okay.
No,
And I
no,
don't mean that, I don't mean
no,
that as
no.
shade.
Yeah.
Someone could share, two people could give the same training verbatim, and
Mhm.
it's going to click for someone on each different training. No,
Yeah.
it's just, and you are probably like the bajillionth person to say,
Yeah.
post in your stories daily, show your face daily, like
Mhm.
go live in your stories. And
Yes.
I have always like felt like my age, like kind of like, I'm like, I'm not gonna, why am I gonna do that? Why am I gonna go live in my stories? Like
People
what
want
do I, like nobody
trust
wants
me.
to watch
People,
me.
yes, they do.
But then I'm the same person that like, I'm gonna watch somebody
Yes.
yell at me about cleaning my house. I don't know
Yes.
if you guys have noticed, what is her name? Kylie Perkins or something on TikTok. She
TikTok.
yells at people to
Oh,
clean
is
their
that the
house.
cooking lady? Oh,
Huh?
there's a cooking lady that also yells at you while
Oh,
cooking,
oh
and
yeah, yeah.
love
I
her.
like her too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I will watch those. So I'm like, surely if someone doesn't want to watch me, they're
Yes.
just gonna scroll. So I feel like I need to stop using that excuse. Like I'm in my own head. And that goes back to what we've heard from several people of like, you are the only one standing in your own way.
Mhm.
So while I don't have any specific sponsoring tips or advice, because I feel like you just hit the nail on the head with everything. That's what I have to share is like,
Yeah.
do the trainings, like listen to the trainings, take the notes, and like maybe, just maybe, it will finally click for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
And
Hallie,
it,
Nicole, do you have anything else before I
yeah.
stop the recording?
Oh, I forgot we were recording.
I forgot I was muted. No, I mean, no, Cass, I think that everything that you said was on point, like 100%. And you know me, I'm like a huge fan of you regardless.
Oh,
So
I love you.
I am
I have
constantly,
I want to openly, while we're recording, just apologize because I feel like I'm not a great example anymore. I can tell you all these things. No, I'm serious, and I have to take accountability for that. But I have all these things written down. I really do, right? And I'm like, okay, I know all this stuff. It is second nature to me. It does come so naturally. The difference that you'll see is when you make that decision, okay, I'm going to do it, or nah, I'm not going to do it. The okay,
right.
I'm going to do it, Cass, bro, I recruited my behind off. I had massive paychecks, and now I'm
It's
just
the
like,
being consistent. It's the
yes,
making it a habit.
yes,
It's the being consistent. It's the
yes,
showing up when you don't want
every
to.
day.
It's mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
And I have let
Absolutely.
my feelings and my emotions get in the way of the consistency and the showing up every day just because of life, you know? And when you do that, when that happens, when you allow that to take over the discipline, if you will, and you're not showing your face every day and you're not posting stories every day and you're not going live every day, I promise you'll see the difference because the moments where I am consistent and I do share the joint specials and I do talk about Scentsy and I do post and I do show my face, everybody is like on it like white on rice. They're like, oh my God, what is this? What are you doing? What is this that you're showing? What are you talking about? Yep. Oh my God, I hate epinephrine too. It makes my heart. And it's just like they come flooding in and I'm just like, yep. And it didn't happen overnight. It was not like, oh, I posted one day and I have all these people that are interested in my life. It took time. But that's what I'm saying now, 8 years in, people notice and they've noticed over the years that I've gotten quiet, that or I'll have my moments where I'm super like, okay, I'm here. The other day I was crying singing in my stories. I was like, y'all want a concert with Cass? Like I did a concert in my car. And then I was quiet all day today. People notice that. And that's where I'm at now, where they're like reaching, like, hey, are you good? Are you there? You're quiet. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I was never quiet and I was always there and I was always consistent. But that's how I recruited so many people. That's how the organization got so ginormous at one point. Because at one point we had like almost 800 people in our group. Now we have like 300 and something people. Because
That's still so inspirational though. So like I don't want to hear like just 300.
but it is. It's like it shows though that the person who is the lead, if you will, it matters. It matters that even as a sponsor, if you're not showing up or doing the things, your team members are not going to either. They're just not, because it's like natural. It's like a natural, like, okay, I'm gonna follow her. Oh, she's doing it. She's inspiring me. And it's sometimes it's exhausting being the inspiring, person who has to always like give the motivation. Because then
Which is why we do these
discipline.
calls. Which is
Yeah.
why we do these calls,
Yeah.
because for
Mhm.
those that are watching that don't understand, this is just our working hour that we
Yeah.
decided, hey,
Right.
Cass needed to talk about sponsoring for some of Kelly's girls, and I was like, let's record it so we can
Yeah.
share it.
Right.
And I am so glad that I recorded this, because I think that so many people are going to get things from this, and I'm going to share it in all the places. So you're about to blow up. You're about to blow up even more on social media.
It just,
So
it does. It matters. Showing up consistently, like, it truly makes a difference. 100%.
I love
It
it.
really does.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.